Hi, I'm Jeffrey. Today we are traveling to the most beautiful place in China, the West Lake, Hangzhou. Also, we are discussing about a new earth, spiritual awakening. The spiritual awakening had already begun. I'm here to speed up the process of the spiritual awakening, as well as to enable more and more people to become part of this process and find a deeper meaning in your lives that transcends the merely personal dimension of existence. Or do you think that the spiritual awakening remains an unrealistic utopia vision? Can you leave me a comment? Thanks. In many parts of the world, there is an emerging sense of social justice that our ancestors couldn't even have dreamed of. The LGBTQ+ people find themselves increasingly accepted simply as people. The races marry and intermingle with less and less judgment. There is a growing awareness of the intrinsic oneness of everything that exists, so that more and more we are seeing an awareness of the deep concern for our fellow humans. The countless animals that are our traveling companions, and the planet itself. Such awareness implies that there is indeed a lessening of the ego in a growing number of the people, and in some parts of the planet more than in others. This diminishment of the ego gives rise to empathy and compassion beyond tribal, racial, national, or religious affiliations. It is those qualities that make us truly human. As we no longer identify with our mental positions, we are able to be tolerant of other people's beliefs and perspectives. We can temporarily shift our own perspective and see things through their eyes. With this comes the ability to compromise in our interactions with others, which is a prerequisite for any peaceful coexistence. In fact, it is precisely in those parts of the world where most people are as yet unable or unwilling to compromise that most of the dysfunction or violence occurs. The ego, and particularly the collective ego, strains itself to emphasize the otherness of others. In other words, the ego needs an enemy for its continued survival. Its refusal to compromise until the new consciousness, which is awareness-based, grows and becomes more firmly established in the human psyche. Temporary regression to the egoic state of consciousness can easily occur. Just as the caterpillar becomes dysfunctional shortly before it undergoes its metamorphosis into a butterfly, the egoic state of consciousness, which is still more prevalent than the awakened consciousness in most countries and organizations, will likely become increasingly dysfunctional and cause a growing number of acute crises affecting many parts of the planet. To some extent, this is already happening. Just like Russia-Ukraine war and Israel-Hamas problems. But this is nothing to be afraid of. If we stay present and do not succumb to fear, if we do not believe the media when they tell you that you should be afraid, these things will not affect you deeply. Acute crisis and dysfunction always precede or coincide with any evolutionary advancement or gain in consciousness. All life forms need to obstacles and challenges in order to evolve. In the case of the ego, most of the challenges its encounters are self-created through its unconsciousness patterns. Eventually, the ego brings about its own demise. In the sense, it can be considered a necessary precursor for the next stage in human evolution, which is the awakening of the consciousness. We are at present in the early stages of this awakening process, but it is accelerating. If you are listening to this, you are already an essential part of this process. The primary fact in all of this, in your state of consciousness, is the only time there is the now. Make sure the present moment is your friend, not your enemy. Honor it by giving it your fullest attention. Appreciate it by being thankful for it. Become internally aligned with it by allowing it to be as it is. That is the arising of the new earth. That is the spiritual awakening we are talking about.